start off with Karakia from Tonganui, if you could please.
Kia ora, Alan. Morena, everybody. I ngā mana, i ngā reo, i ngā tangata katoa, he mihi mahara ki a koutou kua huhui mai nei, I runga I te kaupapa o tēnei rā, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. The prestige, the voices, a warm welcome to everyone that is gathered here today for the special occasion. Greetings, greetings, greetings to us all. Kia ora.
Okay, we'll start with item 4.1, there being no apologies or any minutes of previous meetings. 4.1 is the declaration by the Mayor, and I call on David Travis to speak. When we are talking, can you please make sure your microphones are on, and when I've moved around for the swearing in of everybody, you'll need to just adjust them so everybody online can hear what you're saying.
Sorry. Thank you very much, Mr. Manhinan. My declaration reads, I, David James Joseph Travis, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interests of the Taupo district the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as Mayor of the Taupo District Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987 or any other act. Those duties include the requirements under clause 15(4) and 16 of the 7th schedule of the Local Government Act 2002 to comply with the Taupo District Council Code of Conduct and the Taupo District Council Standing Orders. So help me God. I think, did I have to say that?
Yeah.
Yes,
fine.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
If you stand up.
Well, thank you very much, everyone. I feel honoured and privileged to be back for a third term, and welcome all our new councillors coming in. And just like to thank members of the public, the supporters, families here today, especially my family, for their support over the years. So, and thank you to all the staff here today. So, we will carry on through the agenda. Right, 4.2 is the declaration by councillors.
Okay,
Yep.
I'll come round and do each one individually, but feel free at the end of your declaration to say a few words if you so wish. So it's not a structured process to that extent that you can't express some of your views and thanks. So we'll commence.
Thank you, Your Worship, and well done on being sworn in again as the Mayor. Just before we start, I'd like to thank my movers and seconders, Georgina Johnson and Linda Burton, Buxton, who are not here today, but I appreciate their support. I, John Russell Body, declare that I will faithfully and impartially, and according to the best of my skills and judgment, execute and perform in the best interests of the Taupo District the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as Councillor of the Taupo District Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meeting Act 1987, or any other act. I'm not that old, guys. Those duties include the requirement under clauses 15/4 and 16 of the 7th schedule of the Local Government Act 2002 to comply with the Taupo District Council's Code of Conduct and the Taupo District Council standing orders. Thank you. Thank you, Alan. Welcome.
I, Kathleen Janet Guy, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interests of the Taupo District the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as Councillor of the Taupo District Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act of 1987 or any other act. Those duties include the requirements under clauses 15/4 and 16 of the 7th schedule to the Local Government Act 2002 to comply with the Taupo District Council Code of Conduct and the Taupo District Council standing orders. Thank you. Could I just take this opportunity to thank the 6,000 plus people that voted for me. I am incredibly honoured to be here and looking forward to working with the existing councillors and all of the new councillors. So thank you for the support and confidence in my ability. Thank you.
Kia ora. Ko tongariro te maunga, ko Taupo nui te moana, ko tūwhare toa te iwi, ko tūramakina te hapu, ko Tanganui Kingi a hau. I, Tanganui te taonga manaaki te iwi Kingi, declare that I will faithfully and impartially, and according to the best of my skill and judgment, execute and perform in the best interests of the Taupo District the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a councillor of the Taupo District Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987 or any other act. Those duties include the requirements under clauses 15/4 and 16 of the 7th schedule of the Local Government Act 2002 to comply with the Taupo District Council Code of Conduct and the Taupo District Council standing orders.
Kia ora koutou. I, Kylie Ann Leonard, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interest of Taupo District the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a councillor of the Taupo District by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987 or any other act. Those duties include the requirements under clauses 15/4 and 16 of the 7th schedule of the Local Government Act 2002 to comply with the Taupo District Council Code of Conduct and the Taupo District Council standing orders. And I'd just like to say thank you to my family. You are wonderful, and thank you to everyone that took the time to vote. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Hello. I, John Robert James Mack, declare that I will faithfully and impartially, and according to the best of my skill and judgment, execute and perform in the best interest of the Taupo District the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a councillor of the Taupo District Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987 or any other act. Those duties include the requirements under Clause 15 bar 4 and 16 of the 7th Schedule to the Local Government Act 2002 to comply with the Taupo District Council Code of Conduct and the Taupo District Council Standing Orders.
Welcome.
Thank you. Can I just say as well, thank you very much to the people of the Turangi ward who voted me in, and I hope along with the 6 TTCB members that we're all going to, hopefully as a council, go forward and help the people of the district, the whole district, to basically get the desires and the wishes that we all want to see. Thank you.
I, Christine Catherine Rankin, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interests of the Taupo district the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a councillor of the Taupo District Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987 or any other act. Those duties include the requirements under clauses 15.4 and 16 of the 7th Schedule of the Local Government Act 2002 to comply with the Taupo District Council Code of Conduct and the Taupo District Council Standing Orders. Can I also say thank you to my family and to my supporters, and just to acknowledge that I really loved being on the council for the last 3 years. I worked with a great group of people and I learned a huge amount, and I think that we've got a lot of talent around the council this time, and I look forward to a really positive 3 years. Thank you.
I, Yvonne Joy Turnbull, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interest of the Taupo District the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a councillor of the Taupo District Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987 and any other act. Those duties include the requirements under clauses 15.4 and 16 of the 7th Schedule to the Local Government Act 2002 to comply with the Taupo District Council Code of Conduct and the Taupo District Council Standing Orders. Thank you. Supporters who voted me in, but also for those who are saying who is Yvonne Turnbull. That is my married name and legally I need to be sworn in under that, but I will be trading, as they say, under Yvonne Westerman.
Tēnā koutou katoa. Ko tainui tōku waka, ko karioi tōku maunga, ko mō takutaku tōku marae, ko waikato tōku iwi. I, Kirsty Teresa Truman, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interests of the Taupo District the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as councillor of the Taupo District Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987 or any other act. Those duties include the requirements under clauses 15.4 and 16 of the 7th Schedule to the Local Government Act 2002 to comply with the Taupo District Council Code of Conduct and the Taupo District Council Standing Orders. Yep, and I too would just like to thank my whānau and also all the supporters in Mangakino who didn't get a chance to vote this year.
Kia ora koutou. I, Kevin Stanley Taylor, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment exercise and perform in the best interest of Taupo District the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a councillor of the Taupo District Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987, or any other act. Those duties include the requirements under clauses 15, 4 and 16 of the 7th Schedule to the Local Government Act 2002 to comply with the Taupo District Council Code of Conduct and the Taupo District Council Standing Orders. Hang on a minute. And just really briefly, I also want to thank, first of all, those who encouraged me to stand. My wife is my campaign manager and chief supporter, and all of those who voted, and I feel honoured and privileged to be here to carry on the next stage of our journey as a district, and thank you for your support.
I, Anna Mary Park, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interests of the Taupo District the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as Councillor of the Taupo District Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987 or any other act. Those duties include the requirements under clauses 15, 4 and 16 of the 7th Schedule to the Local Government Act 2002 to comply with the Taupo District Council Code of Conduct and the Taupo District Council Standing Orders. Pretty much just to reiterate what everyone else has said, I'm extremely honoured and feel very humbled to be re-elected for a 4th term, right up there with you, former Councillor Hickling, as far as trainings go, and I'm really looking forward to the next 3 years. We've got a large work program and it's going to be good to hit the ground running. Thank you.
Kia ora koutou. I, John Renton Williamson, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interests of Taupo District the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as the Councillor of the Taupo District by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987 or any other act. These duties include the requirements under clauses 15.4 and 16 of the 7th Schedule to the Local Government Act 2002 to comply with the Taupo District Council Code of Conduct, the Taupo District Council Standing Orders. I too also want to once again thank my nominators Tony Waldron and Doug Simmons, and also very humbled and privileged to be returned for a 3rd term, not forgetting the support of my mother, who's also a very good sounding board, but keeps me in my place and corrects me when I think she thinks I need to be corrected. But I'm looking forward to working with the new councillors and current councillors and working forward as a district to achieve the goals we want to achieve in the best interest of our district. Thank you.
Very good. Well done, councillors. And I think it's the last final round of applause. I think they did all very well reading all that out. Thank you very much. I'd just like to acknowledge Acting CEO Alan Menhent for performing the task today. Thank you very much, Alan, and your team. And I was remiss at the start not acknowledging some former councillors here, which is fantastic to have them here today. Councillor Barry Hickland, former Deputy Mayor, 4-termer, and of course the former Mayor, Joan Williamson. Welcome along, Joan. Thank you for being here. So 4.3 is appointment of the Deputy Mayor, and I've chosen to appoint Councillor Rankin as the Deputy Mayor. Christine has extensive local government and health board experience, having served on the Auckland Regional Council and Waitemata Health Board before moving to Taupo and representing the community on this council and also on the Lakes District Health Board. With the growth we're experiencing, I believe the Taupo district is transforming from a medium to smaller sized district to a large mini metro, as I put it, and having a strong advocate with many connections at a national level standing alongside me will be invaluable as we move our district forward. Christine is a well-known New Zealander, as you know, and with a clear passion for this district, and we have a number of large projects coming up that I will be seeking government assistance with, and I believe Christine's extensive range of contacts in the capital will help us open the right doors. So I congratulate you, Councillor Rankin, and appoint you as Deputy Mayor. And I think we just need to note that. So I'm happy to move that that be noted, if I can have a seconder for that. Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Councillor Taylor? I've got that right, haven't I? Yeah, thank you very much. All right, item number 4.4, legislation.
Through the chair.
Yes.
Your worship.
Sure.
I just need to make a comment, notwithstanding your your commentary. I am still very surprised that you've departed from your recent tradition of nominating the top polling councillor, which, as you have been mandated through your position, I believe that the people's choice would be the top polling councillor. So I just want that recorded. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. McCaddy, Nigel McCaddy. Legislative advice for the incoming council.
Now for the fun stuff, councillors. Thank you, Your Worship. So my name's Nigel McCaddy. For those that don't know me, I'm the Legal and Compliance Manager with the council. So it falls to me to take you through the key pieces of legislation that you need to be aware of to carry out your role as councillors. You've obviously had the item, which is fairly long, and I apologise for that, but there was a fair bit of material to get through. So I don't intend to read it verbatim, because otherwise we'll be sitting here for far too long. But I just thought I'd go through and perhaps highlight some of those matters, and what I'd like, if there are questions as we go along the way, let's make it interactive, and I'll see if I can answer those. And if I can't answer those questions now, then I'll go away and get the answers for you and come back to you. So the starting point obviously is the Local Government Act. Councils are creatures of statute. So that what that means is they are created by acts, and in this case it's the Local Government Act 2002. The 2002 Act is quite different from the previous 1974 Act in that it gives to council what's called the power of general competence. And what that means is that generally the council is empowered to do everything it needs to do to meet its purpose of local government. And that's quite different from the 1974 Act, which was quite prescriptive. So basically under the old Act, if it wasn't in the Act, you couldn't do it. So there's a lot more flexibility now for a modern council. The quid pro quo for that is that there is an increased consultation requirement. And basically the key for consultation is to understand the views and preferences of the community. So the council does that by going out and consulting with members of the public. The key about consultation is that it's not a referendum. So it's not a numbers game, if you like. The key is just to understand the views and preferences. It doesn't mean that the council who's making the decision necessarily has to agree with the weight of public opinion. It's your role as governance, as the decision makers, to ultimately make that decision. So I think that's just sort of quite an important one for new councillors to understand, because you'll obviously be involved in a lot of consultation processes. So any questions arising from that? So just look, I'll move on to the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act, a real mouthful, and I congratulate you all for getting that out in your declarations. We like to call it colloquially, we shorten it to Lagoima. So if we say Lagoima, you'll know what we're talking about. And really, Lagoima is all about the principle of open government. The same applies to central government. They have the Official Information Act. Local government has the Lagoima Act. Basically, the starting point is that all information that is held by a council is official information, and the principle is that that should be available to the public unless there's a very good reason to withhold it. That said, there are very good reasons sometimes for withholding information, and that might be, for example, to protect people's privacy. That's a bit of a no-brainer. There might be a situation where the council's involved in commercial negotiations, so needs to keep the information private to the council. There might be other negotiations going on. There might be legal proceedings that the council's involved in, and things are subject to legal privilege, so it needs to keep them confidential. And I'll be appearing in front of you from time to time in relation to some of those legal matters that need to be kept confidential. So that's basically the principle. Open government, but sometimes there are good reasons to withhold things. The key for the councillors is that information that is in a confidential or public excluded session needs to be kept confidential, and this is a real key for good governance. There's very good reasons why sometimes things need to be conducted in private and not in public. So that's a real key. Should elected members release confidential information and the council suffer a loss as a result, then there's the potential for elected members to become personally liable if it's subsequently shown they weren't acting in good faith. So again, it just highlights the real importance. If something is confidential, it needs to be held in confidence, unless subject to a subsequent resolution of the council, it's released from confidence. The same applies to meetings, which we've already gone through. As I said, good government and good decision making to be delivered, members need to maintain a high standard of personal integrity, and that means keeping things in confidence when they are confidential. Moving on to the Local Authority Members' Interests Act 1968. This again helps to protect the integrity of council decision making by ensuring that councillors aren't affected by personal motivations when making decisions. There's two aspects to the Local Authority Members' Interests Act. One is relates to pecuniary interests, and the other relates to non-pecuniary interests. Pecuniary interests are basically interests that involve money, common sense really. There's two aspects to that under the Act. The first one is that members can't enter into contracts with the council worth more than $25,000, including GST, in a financial year. And if there is the prospect that a member might be involved in a contract, or through a family connection be involved in a contract with the council that's going to exceed that amount, they can apply for an exemption from the Office of the Attorney General, but that needs to be made prior to entering the contract. So it's a responsibility on elected members to make sure that they are over that and are aware of the circumstances, because breaching that has dire consequences, i.e. it's a disqualification from office. So you need to be alive to all those circumstances, both with yourself and with your family connections. The second thing is that you need to be aware not to participate in matters for the council in which you have a pecuniary interest or a money interest. That makes sense, I guess. So the test from the Office of the Auditor General is whether, if the matter were dealt with in a particular way, discussing or voting on that matter could reasonably give rise to an expectation of a gain or loss of money for the member concerned. So that's the test about you ask yourself, have I got a pecuniary interest or don't I in a matter? The second aspect is non-pecuniary interest, which is the trickier one, and it can be a grey area because it involves matters of perception and degree. So the question that needs to be considered by yourselves when a matter comes before you that you think you may have an interest in is there, to a reasonable, fair-minded and informed observer, a real indication of bias on the part of the member of the decision-making body in the sense that they might unfairly regard with favour or disfavour the case of a party to the issue under consideration. So the principle there is that justice not only needs to be done, but needs to be seen to be done. So we're talking about perceptions here. The consequences of being accused of bias is not that the member might potentially be liable, but that the council's decision making might be attacked on the basis that there was some bias during the decision making process. What I would say though is that in a small community, particularly like Taupo, it's inevitable that that members are going to have connections and interests with various groups and people that will be appearing before the council. And indeed, you might have a view, an opinion, even a strongly held opinion on a matter that's going to come before the council. That it's okay to express that opinion outside of the meeting, but what's not okay is that you, by your words or by your behaviour, exhibit that you've closed your mind to the eventual decision. All right, so it's quite, you see, it's quite a grey area, and there can be quite a fine line, but inevitably you can have an opinion about something. You just need to remain open to the final decision. Moving on to the more the more meaty stuff, the Crimes Act, which you know, these matters are relatively obvious. You would have read them in the paper. It's unlawful to accept or solicit a gift or a reward in relation to council business, or use information gained to your advantage or for a monetary gain. The consequences of that are severe. It attracts a maximum prison sentence of 7 years, and inevitably it results in a loss of your office. And again, I mean, the intent's obvious. We need to deal with any hint of corruption in office, and the same applies to the Secret Commissions Act as well. Similar to those Crimes Act provisions, it's essentially aimed at preventing corruption by public officials, which includes members, and again it's a 7-year maximum term of imprisonment and would result again in a loss of office. The Financial Markets Conduct Act, we don't really need to cover this off. It only applies if the council was out there offering securities to private individuals. It doesn't do that at the moment, and I don't understand there's any intention that the council is going to do that. If it was, then you'd have people in front of you providing advice regarding what you need to be aware of to discharge your duties under the Act. The Protected Disclosures Act 2000, or known colloquially as the Whistleblower Protection. This is where employees, which includes by definition members, elected members, have information about a serious wrongdoing on the part of an organisation. In this case, obviously, it's the council. There are protections for people who want to raise those concerns, and the council has a protected disclosures policy. If you want to make yourselves familiar with it, hopefully those circumstances will never arise, but it's something for you to be aware of. Personal liability of elected members. This is the sort of stuff that will probably make you sit up straight. Happily, there's an indemnity for you by the council in relation to civil liability and criminal liability, provided that you are all acting in good faith. There is a theoretical personal exposure for members in certain circumstances if the council offers a loss, but something has to have gone badly wrong when this is in circumstances where the council has acted unlawfully. But you will have a defence if the act or failure which has led to that loss occurred without your knowledge, or with your knowledge but against the protest that you've made at a meeting, which presumably you will have had recorded in the minutes, or contrary to manner in which you voted on an issue at the meeting, or in circumstances where you acted in good faith and relied on the information and professional or expert advice given by a council officer or professional advisor on matters which you reasonably believe that within that person's competency. So you can see that to be at risk of being liable things must have gone badly wrong, and none of those other circumstances would apply. So it's unlikely, but you need to be aware of it. One of the final things to talk about is the Health and Safety at Work Act. So you'll obviously be aware of the new act that came in 2015, which was a response to the Pike River tragedy. And what that's done is that has imposed a duty of due diligence on a new term called officers. And under the Health and Safety at Work Act, elected members are also defined as officers. So what that means is that there is a duty of due diligence on you in relation to health and safety to make yourself familiar about health and safety matters, to receive regular reports, which you will be getting from council officers. But importantly, even though you have a duty of due diligence, the Act provides that you are expressly excluded from liability. So there's no liability for breaching your due diligence duty, but obviously you have the duty, and you'll be receiving advice so you can discharge that. Just the final wrap up, the Public Records Act is an act which ensures that council records are full and accurate and accessible wherever possible. So just the thing to be aware of is if you receive information, and you will be receiving information from constituents and others in your capacity as elected members, just need to be aware about whether that qualifies as a council record, and if it does, then you need to be sure that you take appropriate care of that and make that available within the council's own record systems. So a whistle stop tour, a few things to cover, but those are the important points.
I was just thinking, you still want to be councillors? Very comprehensive there, Nigel. Thank you very much. And of course, as always, you're always available for advice if anyone needs
Always
it.
available, yes,
We're
absolutely.
Happy to respond to that.
Yep.
So thank you very much. As you can see, it's quite, those acts are quite detailed. So I urge you to get your head around those, and they're very valuable going forward. So thank you, Nigel. Any questions of Nigel? No? Cool. All right, thank you very much, Nigel. Appreciate your time today. So there's a recommendation there that Council receive the report, legislative advice. Do I have a mover, please? Thank you, Councillor Boddy, seconded by Councillor Park. All those in favour, please say aye. Those against, carried. Item 4.5, appointment of councillors to the Turangi Tongariro Community Board. Ellen or Tina, would you like to take us through this, please? Tina Jakes is Democracy Manager. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Jakes. Any queries on that? No, straightforward. So we appoint Councillors Tonganui Kingi and John Mack to the TT Board. I have a mover, please. Moved by Councillor Park, seconded by Councillor Truman. All those in favour, please say aye. Those against, carried. Congratulations, gentlemen. Right, 4.6, we're getting there, everyone. 4.6 is the first meeting of Council, which the suggested date is Tuesday, 26th of November. There's no change to that, Peter? That's correct? All right, I have a mover that date be accepted. Thank you, Councillor Rankin, seconded by Councillor Williamson. All those in favour, please say aye. Those against, carried. Thank you very much. I think that is it. So thanks again, once again, everyone. We have a light lunch here. All our visitors, families are most welcome to stay and have a light lunch with us, and we will see everyone in due course. We've got training coming up, and various November's pretty full by the look of it. So well done, everyone, and congratulations once again. If I could just have Councillor Kingi, if you don't mind, a final blessing for our travels, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thanks, everybody. Kia tau, kia tātou katoa, te atu whai o tātou ariki, aihu karaiti me te aroha te atua, me te whiwhinga tahitanga ki te wairua tapu, ake ake, amen.
Amen. Thank you. Meeting closed.